Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, welcome to another episode of the Chaps Chat Cats, part of the Hoops Crew Media Network. My name is Jake, and I'm joined in the virtual studio by a full complement of chaps. Sambo, Johnny, how are we?
Pretty bloody good.
Good.
Can't complain.
Because if you did, no one would listen. Ranks up there with the old guys saying you shouldn't have when you're walking down the street with a bunch of flowers. That one.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or how's the weather up there? That's happened to me once in my entire lifetime.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, you get that one, do you? I've never had that one, to be honest.
Only once when I was like 17, 18, walking past this older guy, like in his 80s, and he's gone, how's the weather up there?
You know what I am?
I'm short ass.
I'm the perfect height where everybody calls me big fella. Because if they're tall, they do it in an ironic way. and if they're short, they actually do it in a legitimate way.
Yeah.
You're everyone's big fella.
That's right.
Everyone's
So to
big fella.
speak.
And then when they walk off, I go, was that a dig? Or did he mean it? Let me go back and measure my height against him.
We're entitled to the sexual proclivities.
Let's jump on in, chaps. We got Matt. Oh, I just went the old whistle there. Late swings. Aphid. The chat cats. On tonight's show, the Cats v the Blues, round 3 preview. We're playing a team, chaps, we haven't played since 2022, January of 2022. So it's been a little while between
just a couple of years.
Yeah, just a few years. The marvel of a 10-game fixture. So we're going to get into all of that on the public part of the show. Should take us about 20 minutes. And then we're going to go behind the Patreon paywall and make our Patreon match predictions. We had another decent week, chaps. Got a few right. There was one. There was a gold one, so we got an exact number stat matched with the right player. So yes, we did all right with our match predictions. So we'll do those again for as usual. Go on over, see what it's all about. Just start your 7-day free trial.
There it is. There it is. I was waiting for that.
You don't even need to go on the Patreon to get that. You get that in the public part of the show.
I could tell that one was too good not to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta let your freak flag fly.
As Shrek says, better in than out.
Yeah.
No, better out than in. Sorry.
I was going to say, Johnny, the other way.
Better in than out, yeah.
That's what she said. All right, so we've got
the Royals talking about reading.
Try out the Patreon 7-day free trial. Definitely give that a whirl. And now, more than ever, feels like a commercially acceptable moment to thank our new media network sponsor, Cyril Cook Florist. They've come on board for the 2024 AFLW season, the 2024 AFL Men's Final campaign, and the 2025 season in total, the whole year, 2025. So Cyril Cook signed up. Go on over, visit www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au. Cook with an E. Give them a buzz on 035 222 2244. Or if you want to avail yourself of our Hoops Crew 20% listener/viewer discount, you hobble on down to Shop 12, 11 Leather Street in Breakwater and tell them the Hoops Crew sent you, and you get 20% off your next in-store purchase. Support the businesses that support the Hoops Crew Media Network. But chaps, let's get into it. Cats v Blues, round 3 preview. We're looking for our first win of the season here, chaps. After a 2-point loss to the Demons and a tie or a draw, not American, I can say draw, not a tie, against whoever we played last week, North Melbourne. Johnny and I chatted about this, Sambo, so I'll come to you first here. But Johnny and I chatted today after our run and said, if Geelong scored an extra 3 points against Melbourne and 1 point against North, you're sitting there at 2 and zip. What are you sort of feeling going into this game against Carlton, the importance of it?
Yeah, I mean, it is important. I think I'm still feeling okay because of that, because of the fact that we've come close. And I think in the our preseason extravaganza, I have a feeling I tipped us to go 2-2 for the first month.
Yeah.
And so if we're 1 loss, 1 draw, and 2 wins, we're actually still going to be in the positive, above my expectation. Not because I think we're the quality of our team is a 2-2 this year, but I just felt like it could take us a little while to work back into that form that we're in towards the end of last year. And I've actually been really pleased with a lot of stuff, especially in patches. I guess it's more the totality of the performance across each game that hasn't maybe been quite there, but I think in stretches all the elements have been working, all the elements have been there. So that's really encouraging. And I guess, like you say, we could have easily pipped those 2 games. So going into this one, you kind of feel like we're not very far off the pace at all. All we need is a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more reward for effort, both in the in our tackling and in our pressure, and also on the scoreboard. And I think we'll be okay.
I like that sort of take. What about you, Johnny? Are you pushing a panic button, or things are steady as they go at the minute?
No, not pushing the panic buttons just yet. As Sam said, but if we get the next 2 wins, that's still a net positive on where we thought they would be. Like, obviously, it would have been really good to go 4-0, which there was that opportunity to get those first 2 wins, but there's no point in dwelling on the past, because that's happened. They won't be dwelling on it. They'll be looking at the mistakes they made, the errors they made throughout both those games, and hopefully correcting them in this game. And they're such a good, well-connected team that you can't but expect them to be able to overcome some of the issues they've had in the last couple of the games, which, to be fair, hasn't been that bad. It's just, it was just 2 free kicks that went against us that really cost us that game, from silly mistakes, just one holding onto a tackle that little bit too long, and one taking 1 or 2 too many steps, which happens throughout the game. So it's not like they're ones that go, oh, we need to really focus on this. It's just a bit of bad luck. But looking at this game, I think they will be well prepared. They'll be looking to bounce back pretty strongly from 2 fairly disappointing games, frustrating games. And I'm not sure where Carlton at. All right, I haven't seen them play yet, but looking at the recent couple of games, they're also feel like they're in a similar position, maybe not as strong as the Cats. So if we go in with the form we had against North Melbourne, then I think we can get a fairly good win, and hopefully a convincing win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I took a look at their highlights, or the mini match against Gold Coast. I think I said to you, Johnny, like, they probably got exposed a little bit at times by Gold Coast's height inside forward 50, gave up a few big marks inside defensive 50. So, like, that's an area I feel like maybe the Cats can exploit with a bit of height. Players like Jackie Parry and Aisling Maloney, maybe if Kate Darby, happens to drift forward. So I think there's reason to feel good, I think, as a Geelong fan going into this game, that they can get the job done. But it'd be nice to sew up the 4 points, just so that we're going in to the Gold Coast game going, all right, we've got a win banked, we've got a draw. We got out of that initial opening stand, which was pretty tough, the home game against the D's, and then up to Arden Street Oval to play the Roos. We got out of that with 2 points, not 0. And we've got a win, and we can sort of move on. And at that point, Chloe Shear is sort of just around the corner if you can manage your way through another couple of weeks. So that's nice. Want to talk a bit about the last time we played, just quickly, just to refresh your memory. But it was a long time ago, chaps, a really long time ago, back in January of 2022. Geelong went down 4-7-31 to 2-5-17. I believe I just checked. Yeah, it was at Kardinia Park this game. The Cats probably cost themselves a bit around goal, not converting their chances. They were 1 goals 5 to 3 goals 4 at 3/4 time. So that really took a bit of a toll. And Carlton were just able to sort of sit on that lead that they'd established in the third quarter. The best players from a Geelong perspective, surprise, surprise, Amy McDonald, 21 disposals, 6 tackles, 3 clearances. Next best was Becky Webster, 21 touches, a couple of tackles, couple of clearances. But really, it was a game dominated by Carlton statistically. I think there's probably enough water under the bridge that game doesn't really have much bearing now. The side's probably very different in terms of personnel and how that personnel have developed. So I just wanted to refresh your memories, but we can probably wash that one and just talk a bit about team selection. Now, obviously, Rachel Kearns is, I believe, a test to come back. She had a chest contusion last week and was out of the side. Obviously, an injury she sustained against the Demons. Obviously, we want to see her back, but failing that, Johnny, is there anyone that you sort of think, you'd like to see in? Is there anyone that you think maybe could do, with a week out, maybe not in the best form or, just needs a rest? Where are you at with selection?
I'm pretty happy with the team that's in at the moment. We haven't got the team selections yet, but I wouldn't.
We actually do, chat. We actually do.
Oh, we do.
We actually do. Go, Johnny.
I'll just say I'm not. Yeah, if they choose the same team that went out last week, then I'll be perfectly fine with that. I can't really name a player that I think should be coming out of that side, except maybe Abby McDonald or Brooke Plummer could make way for Rachel Kearns if she's all right, but I can't really, or Georgie Rankin. But from the game last week, I don't think anyone really put any foot wrong or did anything egregious to warrant a week out. So if they pick the same team, that's fine by me. And as I said, I don't think I can really think of anyone off the top of my head to come in that could improve this team a whole heap more than what it is already. But if they bring in Kearns or Rankin, then perfect. They'll be fine. And whoever misses out will just miss out on, I think, just a bit of bad luck.
Yeah. Sambo, I'm going to give us the teams and then you can maybe react there. I tend to agree with what Johnny's just said there, but there is a change. There's an obvious in, but there's a less obvious out, or at least I wasn't expecting this. We have Rachel Kearns making a return. This is according to the team lineups page on the AFLW website, but making ways Georgie Prespakis. Now on the website, I haven't
got the email from the Cats, and Prespakis is out and Kearns is in, so that's fully correct.
Is that injury related?
It says quad in the email.
So this is interesting, Sambo, because they asked Dan Lowther on comms in the last game, Prespakis a bit quiet, is she carrying anything, at the moment? And he basically said, no, she's just being well held. They've got some good players, blah, blah, blah. But you wonder if maybe the AFLW are learning from the AFL men's team.
Yeah, he's obviously learned from Chris Scott.
Yeah. Sambo, what do you think about the lineup here then? Same as last week, except no Prespakis and Kearns is in.
Yeah, I mean, the Prespakis is a pretty big out. I guess the good news is that she has been a little quiet. She hasn't necessarily sort of set the game on fire the way we expected her to. Not that she's been bad by any stretch, but I just mean from a glass half full perspective, it's maybe not the biggest hole to cover at the current moment with current form. So that's kind of good. But yeah, I mean, like John said, it's tough to complain with the squad we've got, with what they've been, the output that they've been giving us. So yeah, no real obvious glaring queries about any of that. Georgie Rankin's still not back in there,
No, listed as an emergency.
right? And I think is that just form more than anything? Because I think she was when she was out, I think it just said omitted. When she was
Yeah.
shuffled out.
Yeah.
No real questions on this from my point of view. As you said, I'd love to see Pierce in the ruck at some point, but I don't expect them to rush it. You know, if they know more than we know, so they're clearly making an informed decision. But I would love, and that's not necessarily to say I'd love to see Darby get dropped. I would love to see Darby freed up in a lot of ways. I'd love to see, from what we saw of what Pierce could bring, I'd love to see her have a crack in the ruck at some point in the foreseeable future and free Darby up to cause some havoc up in the forward 50 or even drop back and cover. I really like Darby as a bit of a utility player.
Mm.
Yeah.
True.
No, I agree. I think you can use her in a number of ways. Any final thoughts on selection, Johnny, or shall we move into what we want to see?
Let's move into what we want to see. I think we've done team selection to its core part.
I think the point, just to sort of my little capper on the Prasparkas thing is like, yeah, she had, as you said, Sambo, had a quiet start to the year. So I think better to. I don't personally feel like midfield is an area that we're, we've got gaping holes that it's like, oh my goodness, one midfielder goes out. Like, and to be honest, my thinking here is Abby McDonald played on ball quite a bit in the VFL W and looked really good. Like she played, I believe it was Carlton, and had like 36 touches and about 13 clearances or something against Carlton in the VFLW. She sort of gets pushed back in the VFLW when the team is in trouble. But it seems like back is the only area she can crack into the AFLW team. I wonder if this might open an opportunity for her to be in on that next rotation of mids with Claudia Gunjaka out, because I really like her when she plays on ball in the VFLW. So yeah, that's maybe that's what I want to see. I'll do that. I'll lead us off here, and then we'll go to you, Johnny, and then to you, Sam.
Yep.
I would like to see Abby McDonald take what she's done at VFLW, particularly this season, where she was a dominant force whenever she came into the team. And we talk about it in the AFL men's all the time that you see these players on the fringe start to look way too good for the next for that level, and they need to step up. And so to me, Abby McDonald's kind of in that zone right now where she goes down, she absolutely batters the VFLW. She's too good. Like she racks up 25, 30 touches at ease, clearances, tackles, marks, etc. Like she is just too good for the level. So I would love to see her try it on ball here with Prasparkas missing. She is really strong-bodied, Abby McDonald. Like she's a tough player. I think she's got ability to explode out of congestion and help players like Amy McDonald around the ball with her physicality. So I would like to see that. But just in general, even if she doesn't play on ball, wherever she plays, I would just like to see her have a really confident performance this week. She's sort of one of those project players for me that I like the way she goes about it. She's really fiery and aggressive with her attack on the ball, and I'd just like to see it come together for her at AFLW level. So that's what I want to see. What about you, Johnny?
I'd like to see Ashley Maloney take a bit more of a stand on a game. She nearly did it against North Melbourne, but just couldn't get those marks. So I'd just like to see her take those marks more often and start putting her dominance on games. Like we saw last year, she was really started to get into that really good form, reading the ball extremely well, passing it extremely well, taking really good marks. And I feel like she's just not at that same level she was last year. So I'd just like to see her get somewhat back to that and then be able to just clunk those marks and kick a couple of goals and be the big four that we're looking for.
could be one of those things, couldn't it? That where teams have had a whole off season. You know, she sort of just burst onto the scene last year, and teams have had a whole 9 months essentially to prepare and think about, well, who are we going to play on her this time so she doesn't destroy us? And also the absence of Chloe Scheer. There was a lot of hype and excitement about how Aisling Maloney played last year, sort of as, second banana next to Chloe Scheer. It's a different thing being the spearhead, being that number one player. So yeah, interesting learning curve, but I feel like she's going to be better for this experience. And I feel like the Scheer Maloney partnership when Scheer comes back will be pretty exciting. And I guess it's allowing us to get a bit of development into Kate Kenny as well. Sambo, what do you want to see?
I think I've probably mentioned already, and probably at least one other of us has also used this as something we want to see, but I guess it's slightly more refined. I'd like to see that inside 50 delivery and structure, but consistently. So I think we've seen it in patches now. Now we need to see that like 9 out of 10 deliveries inside 50, at least going in the way that you want them to go in. They can be cut off and, all that kind of stuff. But I felt like, particularly in the game last week, there was a bit of frustration, I'll admit, about some of that hard work being a little bit squandered with that final kick, just sort of kicking it long to it. Sometimes as bad as a 3-on-1. Again, talking about Maloney as well, like I think I agree with what you guys are saying, and I think the other element for Maloney is that she came in with no pressure either, not only because of the Scheer thing, but just being new to the game. Nobody expected anything of her, really. So she was just able to go out there and be a natural freak. And then there's been news articles and YouTube podcasters talking about her and all that kind of stuff, and then going out there on her own without Scheer as well. Like, beyond the external pressure, the internal pressure she must feel to deliver again must be a lot. But I felt like there was a long patch there where it felt like we could have probably easily got another 3 or 4 goals, or at least 3 or 4 shots on goal. I guess then the conversion of a shot is the next step. But and then we had this really good sort of, as I think you and I had messaged Jake, and we actually always keep things pretty positive, but we had this moment where we did sort of get a little bit frustrated and go, some of this, some of the delivery inside 50, and then almost immediately as I'd said that, there's this brilliant kick inside 50, and I messaged you and I was like, of course, once you complain about it. So yeah, but basically I'd like this, and then I feel like it fell apart again once the pressure's on in the final stretch, but I'd like to see that sort of delivery across all 4 quarters.
Nice.
I love it. Definitely. And I think if we start doing that, it was something we had to work our way through last season. The Essendon game, as we talked about a couple of podcasts ago, was a great example down in Warrnambool, where we had a lot of the ball and they were just way more effective using it inside 50. And then from there, we really started to rectify that issue. So let's hope that it's like that from quarter one against the Blues. But that is all from us on the public part of the show. We're going to duck now and do our Patreon match predictions over on the Hoops Crew Patreon. Come on over. Start a 7-day free trial with us. You get extra coverage of, obviously our extended podcast, the Wednesday news wrap, and extra shows from Ben and Paul, VFL men's and women's coverage during the season, and a bunch of other stuff. You can jump in the Patreon community chat. We're trying to, there's a bit of music launching at the moment over on the Hoops Crew Patreon. So yeah, you can check out that as well. But yeah, we'd love to see you over there. We're hoping to hit 30 Patreon subscribers by the end of 2024. If we can shoot past it, that'd be great. But we're at 27 at the moment. So if there's 3 of you out there who are been listening for a little while, maybe I'll just give it a try. Start a 7-day free trial. Check it out. But as usual, we will play you out with our favorite 4-legged friend, the halftime horse. Until next time, go Cats!
Go Cats!
Go Cats!
You get your cordial, you get your lollies, a spray from the coach. Lollies, absolutely.
Spray.
So you get your cordial, you get your lollies, a spray from the coach. Lollies, absolutely.
Spray.
what halftime's
Yeah.
about.